Hi, I'm Lise Colucci, and I'm one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. And today I am starting a series of live streams, videos, whatnot, about relationships and dating after narcissistic abuse. I will be coming on here at least once a week with this topic, maybe a couple times a week with this topic specifically. Well, different topics related to getting back out there, dating. It can be applied to friendships. It can be applied to social relationships. Anytime where you are now needing to go out into the world and build relationship and form trust with other people. So this should be interesting. If you have any questions related to this, as always, feel free to ask me and I will try to get them on here. I have a series of questions to go through, to get through. Looks like weeks worth, many weeks worth if I do it once a week, but obviously, but I'll probably do it more than that. I'm going to do it as a separate name, but for right now it's under the same name because I haven't done that yet. So anyway, it'll have its own name and it'll be its own thing apart from talking of narcissistic abuse in general. So I'll be doing my normal stuff, but then also adding this in shortly. So anyway, getting started. Hi, Saved by Grace. If you have not hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up, all the good stuff. If you'd like texting notification of my going live, text me at 33222 and put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, hit send, and I will text you about 10 minutes prior to being live every time. I think that's it. Let's see what's going on otherwise. And hello to whoever's here. I see some of you coming in now. Otherwise, yeah, that's it. If you need coaching or group coaching help, check out the information in the main description of every video. It's down there. You can find me there. And there's ongoing group coaching always available. It's starting this week for the month, but you can join at any time. You just click the link. You'll find it. All right. So, hey, LEK and Svenusha, how you guys doing? All right. Dating after abuse. We're going to start with really basically, if you're not ready for the dating thing and you're like, this isn't for me, there might be some information for evaluating the relationship that you are in. Meaning if you are with a toxic person or someone that you're questioning if they're toxic, there may be information in some of these and a lot of these that can help you to evaluate and understand your own relationship that you're in, whether or not you are ready for moving on with someone new or not. Okay. Or this can be information to help you to look at yourself and see what it is you want for your life, what kind, friendships, whatever, anytime you're thinking about including other people in your life, or even just what you want for yourself. So this is not necessarily just dating tips. Okay. That's not super interesting. What's more interesting is healing and growing and evolving and figuring out how as survivors to then move forward and go on with our lives and be not only find healthy people, but be healthy people for someone else. Because that's a thing too. Okay. All right. So the question was, I'm going to kind of go off topic from the question, but I'm going to just state the first question that was asked, which was, how do you stop seeing the abuse everywhere and overthinking to where you destroy or have to end everything that you're in? Because so basically they feel like that what they're seeing is interfering with what they're wanting for their life. So that led me to another thing that was asked of me last week. I said something in a video a few weeks ago about something about, I don't even know which one it was, but they said they heard me say something that they haven't heard before. And that is, when you're thinking about the relationship that you're in, is this a relationship that is a good fit or not a good fit for my life? Is this good for me or not good for me? Is this a relationship that's good or not good for the life I'm living? So yeah, that's a question always we, could be asking ourselves, is this good for me? We don't consider ourselves when we're with toxic people because we're conditioned and trained to consider them and to be constantly walking on eggshells and, doing the things that hold the relationship together so that we are just continually being used. So if we stop and question, is this actually good for my life? Then there's the question. And so I'm kind of combining these two things. So when you are seeing the abuse everywhere or you're overthinking, I mean, there's several things. Are you personally healed enough to be able to see what's yours and what's the other person's? When you're considering whether you're seeing, you guys are so quiet today. Whenever I get on these topics that are either dating or sex, it's silent in here. So talk to me, guys. When you are, so a lot of people say this, that they will be, they'll meet someone, or they will start a relationship, or they will start dating, and they will, hi Frankendoll, or they will, and they will start seeing all these red flags, and they don't know if the red flags are actually there, or if they're just assuming they're there, or if they're overthinking little like mini red flags, and they're overthinking it because they don't want to end up in a toxic relationship, or if they are, they're so afraid of overlooking that they're seeing everything, and then it's destroying any chance at any happiness they could have with someone, because maybe it's them that's overthinking it, right? Number one with that, and this is you got to trust your gut. You got to go with what you feel and what you are experiencing, and believe that it's real or not real. If you are overthinking, see, it can get hard, because if you overthink, then you get anxious, and you can't tell what is a gut reaction and what's anxiety. So I understand this is, there's like little angel fluff. Dogs are shedding, and it's, okay. So overthinking, yes, it can totally get in the way. Okay, I'm going to go down this list of what is good and not good, like how to decide if something is good for your life or not good for your life. Hi, Bonnie. And maybe that'll help answer this question too, because I can't tell someone how to stop overthinking when they're trying to be cautious. It's important to be cautious. It's important to be alert. You can't go back to sleep and pretend that there's no such thing as toxic people and just live in fantasy land of fairy tale. That doesn't work. You'll end up with a toxic person, most likely, because that's what they're hoping for, is someone that isn't looking, right? Someone that doesn't see their faults and doesn't see their, not so much faults, but their abuse. So it's important to keep your eyes open, even though it makes it harder to find someone. It's true. The dating pool gets smaller and smaller the more discerning and careful we are with choosing. It's, it is difficult, and we do have to go through being, I have this open. Let me close that. Why do I have that open? Okay, there. We do have to go through this process sometimes of letting people go, and yeah, it's not, but you see, every time you do that, you are learning what is and what isn't good for your life, and it can lead you to someone because you are more open to it, and it can lead you to seeking different types of people. Let's put it that way. All right, the number one thing, if a person disturbs your peace, so say by Grace, to get out a peaceful mind, your peace, get out a peaceful mind is a rational mind. If they are deliberately disrupting peace, they want control. Well, there's that, yeah. And hi, Rapunzel, I finally figured out I don't actually have anxiety. Right? I know that one. I've been pissed off at my parents my whole life. Oh, I so know that. Okay. And let people convince me I've got anxiety and depression. I think it's like you may have the manifestation, that you may have the like symptoms of those things, right? And when you figure out the cause of it, the root cause of it, and then you start working on it, it's liberating. I'm so glad. I hope that you are able to work through that and now find your way through that, because it does change. I think I talked about that last week, how that happened to me, and I went, wait a minute, I don't actually have anxiety. I get anxiety when situations are out of control, intense, and not good for my life. All right. Hey, Karina. Okay. So yes, I had the symptoms until I recognized the anger. That's fascinating, isn't it? It's so interesting when that happens, and so freeing. Yay. Okay. So let's talk about, I have 15 things here written down for ways to see if something is a good fit for your life. Basically, how to choose a healthy partner, how to be a healthy partner. Okay, shall we start? All right. Interesting subject, dating. I have something interesting that came up and I'm a little fearful of. Go ahead with it, Grace. Okay. All right. I'm saying a lot today because I'm changing topics here, so it's different. All right. Frankendahl saying, I thought I was depressed. Being in a toxic relationship for so long does that. Go figure. And this kind of goes with what we're talking about. When something is not good for your life, things start to happen like that. You start to have stress and anxiety and depression, and sometimes it can be rooted out, and it isn't that. It is the anger that you're feeling about the situation you're in. And then once you discover the deeper emotion that you're feeling and you can work with it and change it, sometimes these things can transform. So I hope that helps you. You said you don't have symptoms now, that you've recognized the anger. Is that right? Which that's awesome if so. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this. Good for your life, not good for your life. Number one, listen to what people reveal about themselves, about who they are. Watch it's through their actions and their words, watching and listening to how they behave in the world, how they behave, how they talk, how they, these are all ways to avoid red flags too, but it goes further. Okay, so it's not just the typical list here. Listen to the people, how they reveal themselves, how they reveal the way they act. And, it's said that most abusive people reveal themselves pretty quickly in little sentences like, I'm not really great in relationships, or I've had a hard time with it because I always ruin all relationships. And then you think, oh no, it's just that no one's understood you. You've been with, but then they'll say how their ex is crazy. And so you think, well, so you're just listening to those things, watching how they interact with other people, watching how they interact, and not so much to look for red flags. Let's not even talk about red flags. It's looking for if that person acts and behaves in a way that aligns with the way you want your life to flow, the way you feel about things, the way someone you can respect and appreciate, someone that is respecting and appreciating of other people in their lives, someone that so it's not so much looking for red flags, it's more like looking for the green flags of it, at the same time as being aware and cautious to look for red flags. And I think what happens, and I think what the original question is, and I could be wrong, but I'm going to go with it. Sometimes when we're looking for what's wrong, all we can do is start the devaluing of that other person. And that's not what we want to do, right? We don't want to be constantly looking for the toxic and the negative in people and never give them a chance because we're overthinking every little thing. So looking for the good qualities, not the good qualities, looking for the real qualities, the real traits, the real behaviors. If someone can be a fine person, they can be not toxic and be completely wrong for you because of the way their worldviews, the way they treat other people. It doesn't mean they're mean or awful. Sometimes it just means it doesn't fit. And sometimes we want to make it fit because of other qualities, but it's important to look and listen to who someone really is, because that's the person you're thinking about spending your life with, right? Okay. You should like the person, right? Like truly. Okay. What is Grace saying here? Grace is saying, I notice when I feel strong that I really got a handle on this subject, I feel invincible. In the past, if I noticed that someone might be dangerous, I would continue to try to be with them as a form of superhero complex, trying to prove myself that I could win over the danger with love. I know that is not a safe way to approach the situations when the red flags come up. I hope that I can simply walk away from the person in this instance, but I'm still not convinced that I would up and leave the date because I'm nervous. I would try to use love to overpower the toxicity in the date. And so what I'm saying here is listening and watching to who that person actually is and responding accordingly, without making a promise for any future or even the present time, could give you freedom to get up and walk away. All right. Karina says, I got summoned for jury duty. Oh no. Okay. And I told the judge I have anxiety and got excused. Now they summoned me again this month. Oh my gosh. Okay. Hi, Shred Squad and Vicky. All right. So number 2, decide the standard of kindness and compassion you will allow in your life. So a lot of times if people, if I ask someone, well, what do you want? People will say, okay, I think I'm ready to date. Like a client or something might ask, like, how do I know? How do I know I'm ready? And I say, I don't know. Well, what do you want? What are you looking for? If you don't know what you're looking for, that's a big piece. You got to know. We can't just, you don't need a checklist that's going to narrow it to the point where it's impossible. But certain things, especially as survivors, it is important for us to have a grip on and an understanding of what it is we want. What is the standard of kindness and compassion you want in your life? Because you're asking for, when you're looking for someone to date, potentially be in relationship with, unless you just want a casual date, even then, you want someone with kindness and compassion, I would hope. And what is that? What does that mean to you? What is that standard? How you want to be treated? You don't think I'm going to date it? Well, okay, then apply it to friends, seeking people at work, like who you allow into your world, who you can trust. If you don't want to date, again, that's fine. But that there's always people around in the world, you're not going into hermitage where you're going to be, hopefully locked away the rest of your life. So you're going to be around other people. So apply what matters, or what rings true for you, or what you think might help to any relationship. And that's true for friends as well. People a lot of times will have lose or have to weed through and get rid of friendships in their life after they have healed from abuse, because they realize that they just can't be treated that way anymore. And then there can be maybe not so much toxic, but sometimes toxic and sometimes just really not good friends. And so then those people have to be, they're not people you'd let in really close, but then you need people to be let in close. So going in to find them, it's the same thing. What kind of compassion and kindness do you want in your life? Grace is saying, I'm nervous that I wouldn't just shut down a date once I realize that I've gone out with a dangerous person. I feel like I have to be friends that person so they don't hurt me. But I realize that's not healthy. Right. So what are you actually afraid of? For them hurting you, or are you afraid of hurting their feelings? In what way could they hurt you if you walked away and never saw them again? How could they hurt you? Or what are you fearing? After 47 years, I don't know how to trust again. Being a hermit doesn't sound bad. Well, and maybe that is okay, right? It's your choice. All right. I divorced 7 years ago, says Vicky. I haven't dated yet. Narcissist always asked me out. Until now, I always thought I was a loser magnet. Now I know better. Yeah, it's just that there's losers out there, right? And they will try anyone that's around. Okay, so all right. Number 3. So what you're looking for one thing that you need to consider when you're looking at what you want for your life, what is good and what is not good. If you're in a relationship now with someone toxic or someone you think is toxic, then what is the quality and depth of communication that you share between you? Are you even in the same book, let alone on the same page? How do you relate to one another? What is the relating? What's it like? If you're dating and someone isn't giving you more than 2-word answers, and you're a person that needs discussion and needs to actually communicate, then perhaps that's not the right person for you. That's that kind of, that doesn't mean they're toxic, but it's not good for your life. It's not a fit. And a lot of times we try to make exceptions because we think we're never going to find what we need, or we think it's us, that we just need too much. But you have to raise your expectations, and that's just what I read here. Vicky says I raise my expectations. That's right. Bonnie's saying what really stinks is when someone you thought was close totally backstabs you and you are forced to distance outer circle. It does stink, but it's also realizing that you're taking care of yourself, and you're learning what is a good fit for your life and what isn't. And if they aren't, then it makes room for other people. And then more importantly, it makes room for yourself, so that you have time and space to take care of yourself and to do things that you want to do that would normally be occupied with pleasing that other person. So, or, or the relationship with that other person. So it does free you up. It's just changing the perspective can be difficult because you have to grieve the loss too, just like any loss. And if it's not good for your life, then it's keeping you down. It's keeping you in a position in your life that isn't where you want to be, right? It is painful but necessary. You are correct there. So anyway, quality communication. Number 4, defining your needs to yourself. When you're looking at what is a good fit for your life, and you're looking at, so if you're thinking of dating again in particular, also with friendships, what do you actually need? What do you want? What are you looking for? And be so specific. Don't say I want someone with good communication, because that could mean yelling. That could mean somebody with word salad. They have great communication. They talk all the time and they talk about nothing. That's communicating. It's not a lie. It's totally communicating. It's just not connected, relatable communicating. So get clear with what you want so that when you're out meeting people or you meet someone, you feel it and you sense it as not as a red flag in the person so much as this just doesn't work for my life. In other words, to be narc proof, right? To be, instead of looking for red flags, look for what works, is what I'm saying. Yes, keep looking at the red flags, of course, but focusing only on that, it does become really negative and it does become really difficult and we do start overthinking. But if we're looking at across the board, healthy, toxic or not toxic, someone can be completely wrong for your life if they don't offer what you need, or if you don't offer what they need in just who you are and who they are. It's not everyone's a fit, right? And it can also help because a narcissistic person will not be able to, if your standards are high enough and your expectations are aligned with something positive and reciprocally giving, it's a lot harder for them to slip in, especially if you're also watching for red flags at the same time. Yes, focus on what works. And I know people say, well, but the love bombing. But see, love bombing it has a different feel. It has a different quality. It has a different, if one of my things might be like, I want affectionate, whatever. I want an affectionate relationship. Well, love bombing is going to look like that. But if I'm also looking for red flags, I can see that this person doesn't display a whole lot of, they're very me-centered. They're doing too much for me without giving or sharing much about themselves. They are, love bombing has a completely different feel, and yes, you do have to watch for it. So I'm not saying just say what if you're getting what you need, it's perfect. But definitely you need to have those things, those needs met, and defining what they are and being clear with them and super specific can help you to see the red flags as well. All right. Shred Squad is saying, I know who I want to be. I know who I want to be, but have never in my life and any time been able to get close. So much trauma. I'm scared that if I do get with someone normal, I'll screw it up because I don't know how to be treated. Exactly. And that is what I'm talking about here. Getting to know yourself and what you need. Defining your needs can take months. It really can, because you think about it, you write it down, it changes. You meet, if you're out dating, if you're out in a situation, like say you're going online dating, okay, you meet all of these people. Each person that you talk to is going to hopefully give you some awareness of what would and wouldn't work for your life. If you're investing too much in the other person, I want them to work because they're so cute, or whatever. Silly, right? But really, they're so hot. They're so whatever. If you're investing too much into forcing that to work, or really wanting that to work, or fantasizing about what it would be like to be with that person, then you're not looking also at yourself. And how does this feel? How is it giving? Could this offer what I need? And is it something that when I am myself, it offers back to that other person what they need? And from that, you can define what those needs are. Does that make sense? Maybe? All right. I'm in the process of reevaluating a 30-year friendship. She's been putting little to nothing in, and I feel like I'm doing all the work. I need to dedicate my energy to those who reciprocate. Yes. Yes. Exactly. And that doesn't necessarily mean that that friend needs to go, right? But it definitely means a re-evaluation of what the friendship is, so that then you can, like you said, focus on your energy on yourself and on people who reciprocate. All right. Which is kind of how you got with your narcissist, which part, Shred? Frankendall, exactly. I'm on that journey now of finding myself, my likes, my dislikes, harder than I anticipated, but I'm worth it. And I'm finding it boosts my confidence, which I didn't expect. Yes, it does. And when you find friends who match that, so like friends who, I'm going to use the word mirror here, but I don't mean it the way a narcissist, well, it is the same, but it's a different intent. We all mirror, okay? Narcissists aren't the only ones that mirror. We mirror too. We just aren't trying to manipulate through it. If you find someone that mirrors back to you the good qualities of yourself, and has their own, and you are shining back to them, that, like you have a friend that is super positive, and you are a super positive person, but you've been really depressed, so that positive you've been having to work really hard to have that positive. When you're around the two positives, it just goes back and forth, right? And you are reflecting back to one another the positivity. So yes, and that can help you. Hi, Shastina. It can help you to discover what you need in order to get there and to stay there. And that's the life that you want to flow forward with. So you go with it. All right. Okay. What I was saying here. You saw her and fantasized about her being with her and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Right. We fantasize, we idealize, because we aren't thinking about what we need, we're thinking about what we want. And sometimes we have to let go of what we want to get what we need. Sounds, yeah. All right. Okay, so number 5. Look for qualities that matter. I know that sounds pretty obvious, but truly, a lot of people will so qualities that really matter. What are qualities that really matter, you guys? Friendship. I have a list here. Friendship. Number 1. If you're dating someone, are they also your friend? Are they someone that you enjoy being around? Like, picture yourself, 90 years old with this person. Can you sit around and laugh still? Can you have friendship? Okay, what are we saying? Okay. So friendship, the ability to be yourself around that person. Do you feel comfortable being yourself around that person? These are qualities that matter to me anyway. Kindness, emotional generosity. Do they receive your emotional generosity with appreciation that doesn't feel that creepy feeling that narcissists do in the beginning, that has an awareness of the generosity? Does that make sense? And are they reciprocal with the generosity? And yes, love bombing can look like that. So I'm not, but it's the big picture we're looking for, right? Do they seem to have an open heart about things in their life? Not necessarily you, because maybe they don't know you yet, but do they seem to have an open heart about their friends, their family, people at work, things like that? Are they respectful of you? Do they push your boundaries? Are they respecting you, or do they respect other people? Do they respect themselves? That kind of thing. Okay. A certain amount of independence, because a narcissistic person is going to rely on others for their emotional needs, and that we don't want that. And are they empathic? And yes, that's a difficult one to read. Otherwise, none of us would be here in the first place if we could read that right off the bat. But watching for the way they respond to things, watching for the way they react to other things in life. And the only way I wish I could just I don't know. I have to figure out a way to talk about how I sense empathy in people. But part of it is the gut feeling you have when you walk away from them. And when you see them do something, is that selfish or is that really selfish? and it's over time. So none of these qualities that you're looking for, you're going to see in one date or one or two, or, it takes months to see all these things and to have them unfold. Okay. How can you ever go back to a former friend that launched a smear campaign against you? I wouldn't. I would not, because they're a person that will launch a smear campaign against anyone. I wouldn't want to be a party to any of it. I wouldn't. I'd let it go. Yeah. None of us would go back. Okay. All right. Number 6, watch the attraction. Attraction is important, of course, if you're talking about dating, even friendships, being attracted to the qualities of a friend because they are bubbly, or they're, whatever, or being attracted to someone physically, or lust, or anything like that. You got to watch that. So watching that's not necessarily, is it good or bad for my life, but that is one thing to watch in yourself, so that if you're just going with that, or you're actually looking at the other person to see who they are. All right. Number 7. So this is back to somebody saying they don't know how they can become healthy enough for a healthy relationship. So how they can become a healthy partner. When you're trying to see if someone is good or not good for your life, are you able to see what is your trigger versus what an action that the other person is doing that's causing the trigger? Okay, so is it a normal thing they're doing? Like maybe they don't text a whole lot and it's super triggering to you. But then if you look historically, they just really don't text a lot. And if you watch them when you're hanging out with them, they actually never pick up their phone. And they're just not a person that wants to spend their time addicted to a phone, like some of us. Okay, maybe they really hate that kind of communication because it can create too much misunderstanding, whatever. So they're not actually doing anything, but that is a super big trigger for you. And so you start reacting to the trigger and overthinking, and whatever you do with it, are you able to identify in that situation what's your trigger of your own? Because what it's triggering to you is maybe the way the narcissist acted, or the way, the way toxic people have behaved, or it's triggering abandonment, or it's triggering a fear of rejection, whatever it's triggering. Are you able to identify it and then work on that piece on your own to help create a healthy relationship with the person who isn't doing anything actually triggering? Or are you able to see, wait a minute, they have time to text all their friends, but when I say something, they wait 6 hours, but they're on their phone the entire time we're together. That doesn't make sense. You see how that doesn't fit? And we can excuse that, because then we can say, oh, we've excused that a long time. Maybe we won't anymore. But it's different based on how they're acting and their patterns of behavior. Okay, I won't date until I know I'm healed, or at least know I'm not triggered. Well, you're going to be triggered. I'll tell you that. You can feel healed 100%. You can feel, I should go into personal stories here now. Should be sharing time when I talk about triggers. And I'm talking about this topic, this specific thing. Triggers, they don't end, guys. Sorry. As you enter a healthy relationship, you also reopen the doors to the shadows inside of you, to the parts of yourself that need healing, more healing. And because someone being healthy is offering, it's like somebody offering you this giant light, right? But when they shine that light, all these shadows appear and you can't help but look at them. So somebody like that example I just gave is real life. Like somebody, like if I am not responded to, I feel totally rejected because I work on my phone. Okay, I'm on my phone all the time. I work there. So to me, it makes sense. You just say reply. And if the other person isn't replying, I start to feel like, well, that's ridiculous, and then I realize this is me. This is my trigger. And what is it actually telling? What is it actually saying? it's saying I fear the rejection. It's saying it's talking about my fears, and it's talking about these triggers and these, these things that have nothing to do with the other person. So I got to work them on my own. I got to heal them and realize that, give myself what I need. And all the steps that, go into healing, start using them so I don't react. Okay. Triggers on your own. Yes, I understand. My trigger is the double standard of a narcissist. I know what I mean. Yes, I do. Okay. All right. Number 8, sorry. I said this earlier, but this is can you be yourself around that person? Is it seem like they can be themselves around you? Is it relaxed? That to me is important. It's not a good fit. A narcissist is never themselves because there is no real self, right? Toxic people are always making you feel like you're walking on eggshells and you can't be yourself. Of course, there's anxiety and nerves and stuff that make it harder to be authentic and be yourself. But if you relax and like be yourself over time with the person, that to me says if something's a good fit or not. If you're with someone and you just been with them for years and you still feel like you're hiding parts of yourself, then either you need healing in order to do so, or there's something up with the situation. Oftentimes it is that you're in the toxic situation. If you feel there's other things that are toxic and then there's that too, then, that's part of walking on eggshells, right? Is not being able to be yourself. And so that's something. Okay. So someone, your sister. But a friend has certain qualities and they don't work against you. It's really hard to let go of family. Of course it is. It's really tough. Okay. So I may save some of these because I'm getting long here. But what was I talking about? What was I talking about? I'm hitting the point in the day, guys. All right. So someone good for your life or not good for your life, are they open and giving? All right. How do they handle stress? So instead of looking for red flags, just look for how someone handles stress. How do they handle the stresses in their lives? Do they freak out and start blaming other people? Do they, something, either they order something and it's awful? Do they get mad at the waiter? Things like that. Watching how people handle stress is a good way to watch for red flags, but it's also a good way to see if it's a good fit or not. There's plenty of people that are in my life that are my friends that are not toxic people. They're perfectly fine people. The way they handle stress, I could never be in their daily life, ever. I can be their friend, but I could never have them as a partner because of the way they handle stress. So, because it's not a fit for me, regardless of whether they're healthy or whether they're toxic or not. All right. Okay. Guys are on a different topic, so I'm going to keep going. Where are we? And is anyone, you agree? Okay. You guys want to talk about narc abuse more, don't you? Should we go back to that right now? And I can do that. I can end here and go back to that so that we're on the same page, because I feel like I'm on a different planet when I read this. All right. Okay. Going to keep going. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop. I'm going to save the rest for another day. I'm going to mark it and I'm done with this. Okay, you guys, what's up? Talk about what's up with you. I'm going to stop here and we're going to go back to this. I marked it. Done. So let's talk about this, Bonnie. Letting go of toxic people. We're going to switch over. Switching gears. Letting go of 2 of 3 has been easier than thought once. Okay. What is difficult about the letting go, Bonnie? Where are you stuck with it? How can we help? Let's do this. How can we help you? And what do you need to see? In the end, sometimes you have to put yourself first. You do. In the end, actually, I would restate that and say you have to put yourself as a top priority, regardless. You are as important as everyone else in the situation, and you are one of the top considerations in every situation. So not so much in the end, but in the always, right? Okay. Anything else you guys have for today that you would like to talk about? Or do you need any help with any of this stuff that you're going through? Otherwise, we're done. Anything? I'm waiting. I'm seeing. Remember, blood doesn't make family, and you're not alone on this. That's right. You get to make the choice. It's very difficult. And yes, it does make you feel isolated and alone. And it's almost like an abandonment wound when you're the one having to leave, isn't it? It is. So maybe it's talking to little Bonnie, who trusted, and whatever she needed, giving her that. I thought things were one way, but turned out different. It's hard to wrap my mind around the betrayal. It's the same as any toxic person. It's just that this one's related to you, right? It's the same. It's seeing the situation. It's kind of what I started with on this topic, which is unrelated, but related. And I'm going to reread it to you because it's related. If you listen to what someone says, and you listen to what someone does, and you watch the actions, and you watch the behaviors, and you pay attention, that is who they are. So there's nothing to wrap your head around except for the truth. The truth is that is who they are. We make stories in our head about what we think we need and what we think we want from that person because our emotions are telling us, but it should be this way. But the truth is they are who they are, and you cannot change that. You can't love them enough to make it different. So seeing who they are is super important. You don't need to understand why a toxic person is the way they are. You're not going to understand it from empathy, and you're certainly not going to understand it from your emotions. The only way you're going to understand why a toxic person is the way they are is to step back and look at it kind of logically and very almost clinically, because you don't think the way they think. You have empathy. You have compassion. You want to make things better. You want change in your life, and you want growth. They do not want those things or have those things. So there's no way to understand it from a place of empathy. If you try to understand it from a place of empathy, you're going to continue to empathize and spin your wheels. So it's the actions, it's the behaviors. In the end, she did a smear campaign against me. I thought she was my friend. Well, yeah, and now you see the truth. You see the truth of how she acts. And I would guess that if you look back, you can see she's done things like this to other people, or minimally had the intent to, or there's been something in her that you've seen that you didn't see until it happened to you. I never thought she would do that to me, but should she do it to her other people? Was this a pattern in her life, or did she do similar things? It just didn't happen to you, because this is the thing. When we are the golden child or the golden one, as in the case of a sibling, it wouldn't be a child, right? The golden one, we don't have it happen to us until it does. That is why she has done these things to others. Yes, that is why the golden child, the golden one, the golden child, the one that the narcissist doesn't attack, the one they put on a pedestal, they want, she's the golden child, yes, but she was making you her golden one. She didn't do it to you. She used you as a reflection of herself, the golden child too, right? And she didn't do it to you for this many years. And then as soon as they always flip. Whoever is the narcissist to her, who is made her the golden child, will turn on her eventually if something happens and they need to. Yeah. And so this is what happens, right? And this is why it's so hard. People say, why can't my brother or sister see how toxic my parents are? Why am I the only one who sees how toxic these people are? Because likely they weren't abused in the same way. They were treated as the golden child. They were not the scapegoat. And therefore they can only see it from the perspective of how they've been treated. And so that's kind of what happens. And it's when you're born into it, and when it's in a family, it's a system. You're playing a role, you're playing a part. Their role and their part is to maintain things status quo. That's how families work, right? Things maintain status quo. And then you can't yes, it is a form of denial. It's a form of denial because you feel, number one, you feel special and protected because they would never do that to you until they do. Someone willing to backstab will backstab anyone. And they just will. And someone willing to create a smear campaign against other people will do it to anyone. It's their method of self-protection. It's their method of control, and it will eventually bite you. So it's just the way it's you did feel protected. Yeah. And then they do that. They make you feel protected. Like, I'll protect you from everybody else with my nasty attitude toward everybody else. But you get behind me, you're with me. It's typical of bullying, right? And typical of toxic behavior. So this is why it's important to surround yourself with people who do things and have behaviors that make you feel inspired rather than protected in that way. They make you feel like they're living a life that you would want to live, that they're living in a way that you can respect and admire. If you don't, then it's not a person that's good for your life. So back to the original topic, right? And there's nothing to understand about the why, except for this is seeing them for who they are. You don't need it. Well, I mean, you may need it at some level, but you're not going to get there with your heart, because your heart is wounded and your heart can't believe it. I can't believe I didn't see it. Others tried to tell me she was like this. I always protected her. Right. It's don't get mad or hard on yourself. It is how things work. A lot of adult children, when the survivor is their parent, like say they have a mother, we'll switch it around. So we're not always calling men the narcissists. Say they have a narcissistic mother and the dad is not a narcissist, and the dad leaves. And the adult children are protecting mom. Well, dad, I can't believe you left mom after all these years. Mom needs blah, 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 mom this, mom that. And he's saying, you guys, mom was abusive to me. You saw it. You saw how she treated me. She would hit me. She would, this, she would that. She would threaten me, whatever. And they'd say, no, she would just get frustrated. And, they protect. Because they can't see it, because they're within the system. They're within that system it's like a machine. It operates without, and then when someone changes something, it throws the whole thing out of balance, and the family doesn't know what to do except then protect the family structure. And part of that structure is ruled by a narcissistic person. So we don't see it. They don't see it. When people get really upset that their adult kids aren't defending them, this is what's going on. They don't see it. They can't yet. They can't yet until something happens. And sometimes enough education will help them see it. And oftentimes, no. I mean, if you could have had all the education in the world and you probably wouldn't have accepted it in your sisters. Seeing it and accepting it are two different things. Think how hard that is when you're being abused. Now imagine if you're not the one in direct line of fire of the abuse. It's tricky and it's very hard to see, or they don't want to see, right? But not want is an interesting word, because sometimes yes, because it disturbs everything. It would mean they would have to stand up against it. It would mean they would have to lose something. So why would they want it, right? Because it hasn't happened to them yet, and it's how the system works. And it's why it just keeps perpetuating. It's hard to step out of. So, okay, what are we saying here? So, and you always made excuses for her. Yeah, right. So maybe the forgiveness is in forgiving yourself, or maybe the answer is in forgiving yourself for it. The family boat is rocked. The family Jenga is falling, is what I say. Just keep pulling. Let it fall. You don't have to accept the role as the scapegoat. Meaning you could step away and go no contact and let them figure it out on their own. Let them smear you. Let them do it. Let them do whatever they want to do. It doesn't matter. You can go be free and be happy and live your life and find other people, other things, other interests, other ways that you are not part of that horrible system anymore. Your name may be, they may sit around the dinner table and talk about you. Just send up good thoughts about yourself to the universe and let them go. You did. You went no contact. Yeah. You got to let it go on a level of not focusing on them and focusing on your own healing instead. Finding yourself, finding the pieces of yourself that they didn't allow you to develop. And they didn't allow you to experience and explore, and getting curious and getting finding some joy. 4 months, a year and 4 months. Yeah, there you go. So see, it's letting go of the why and the how could she and how dare she and how hurtful of her. Yep, it sucks. And Shastin is saying forgiveness of self is all you need to be sorry about. No forgiveness needed for them. Exactly. That's right. Right. Because what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong here because I'm totally reading chat. I'm reading intent that may not be there. But for some people, this might be true. So it might be helpful. Because what I'm hearing is you're saying a lot of things about how you can't believe you couldn't see it, which to me sounds like taking some level of accountability that you feel you should have had to protect yourself, and you feel you should have seen it. And it is totally normal to not see it, or to even see it and not be ready to acknowledge it and accept it. Seeing and acceptance are two different things. You can see it all you want, but accepting that is exactly what it is a totally different thing, and it's difficult. I still struggle with how could they on occasion. Of course, it's emotional. It hurts, right? I feel like I am developing in new and wonderful ways. Yay, Bonnie. You are kind of pissed at yourself. Okay, that's what I was feeling, but I don't know. I was just picking it up, but I don't. Sorry if I put words in your mouth, but I know that can happen. So, yeah, I just did a video on self-forgiveness like last week or the week before. So maybe that would help you. I'm sure you watched it, but maybe with this in mind, going back and watching it again, or pieces of it, might help you to release some of that pissed off at yourself feeling and love yourself instead, and give yourself a hug, because you deserve it. You deserve the freedom now, and holding on to them and the whys and the how could she's is not giving you freedom. Okay. All right. Anything else you guys have for today? Anything going on that you would like help with? Let me know. Remember that what was I going to say? I don't know. I'll have something else tomorrow, but I will be back with more questions on dating, and I will be doing it on a separate show very soon. I just have to get my act together with it and divide them up. So there'll be this, and then I'll come on at a different time and do the other one, so that if it isn't your thing, we have our other stuff too. I'm not going to replace the other stuff with that. I'm just going to add it in as a second show, program, whatever you want to call it. Fig fish or cut bait? I cut the line. Yep. Good. Okay. Forgiveness of self has been the hardest for me. We'll go back and watch that. If I had it right here, I would read you some of the stuff real quick. Maybe I do. If I can find it. I don't know. I do think so out of order, and I don't know. I'm not going to be able to find it real quick. Oh, here it is. I did. Okay, I'll just read you the quick 5 questions I wrote down for self-forgiveness. Be careful in Washington I'm in Oregon, so yeah, we got it here too. But what do you do? Wash your hands, guys. I'm not gonna freak out and buy into hype. I'm just gonna try and stay healthy like everybody else. All right. And thank you for concern though. Okay. Self-forgiveness, real quick before we end. Number 1, do you have the power to change what happened? Number 2, do you allow for imperfection in yourself? If not, can you see in other people how imperfections are what makes them beautiful? Okay. Number 3, have you learned and grown from the situation? And if so, how? And in what ways would you like to learn and grow? Number 4, what are you really holding on to? Dig deeper. Go underneath the original feeling. Go underneath what you are telling yourself and find another belief. Find the belief that's holding you there and work with it to let it go or to expand it so that you can have a different perspective on it. Again, that is something with coaching that is useful, because with NLP practices and NLP techniques, there are ways to be helped with guided things or guided exercises to help open perspective. So if that's ever needed, it's there. Okay, number 5, have you begun to heal what needs healing? And if you have, celebrate it. And if you have and you know the direction you'd like to continue healing, push into it. Okay, that's the self-forgiveness questions that I had. So there you go. Hi, Jessie. Okay. It is disorienting going no contact later in your life. You have to, you are creating a new life now. Totally disorienting, totally different. Yes. Okay. All right. So there we go. I hope that helps. That's what I got. We went from one topic to the next, but that's okay. Did 2 things here today. All right, you guys, I am going to head out. Yes. So hold on to those questions and go back and watch that on the one on self-forgiveness, maybe with this awareness, and see if that helps you. See if it gives you some more perspective on what can help you to let go of some of this so you can keep moving. You're welcome. Lady Goldfinch, after being almost 2 years out of a narcissistic marriage, I'm grateful for what I learned about myself and better for setting healthy boundaries. Yes. Yay. Excellent. I like the positive ending there. Okay. If you would like texting notifications of my going live, text me at 33222. Put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, as one word, hit send. I will text you about 10 minutes prior to being live. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoy this. Hit subscribe if you have not already to this channel. I'm on here 3 to 4 times a week. It'll be more because I'm going to be doing, as I said, a separate live stream or video, depending on the day, about dating after narcissistic abuse, where I'm answering questions directly from survivors, their questions, what they need, what they're asking, where they feel stuck, all of that. And I'm trying to help with that. It is an interesting world, and it is totally different than dating without awareness of narcissistic abuse and dating without healing. Okay, it's a totally different thing. So there is that. Not only dating, relationships, trying to find something healthy, or friendships that can always be applied. So separate from what I normally do, I did it my normal thing with it today because I'm just kind of introing it. So there's that. Okay. And as always, if you need help, coaching, or group coaching, check out the links in the main description right down below of every video. And you can find me there. I am available and around if you need help. And that's it, you guys. Take care. I'll see you. I may come on tomorrow. I've switched my Wednesdays around. I'm trying to make them a little freer. So I have a maybe on a Wednesday. If not, I'll see you Thursday. You guys take care and have a good night. Bye-bye. Now I got to find the end. There we go. Good night.